Hey, welcome to the Nursing Dose with your host, Dr. Farah Laurent. Today, I want to be talking to you about bold nurses and how to be a bold nurse because bold nurses get hired faster. Okay. Um, you can barely see the title. I guess they switched it up a little bit. Restream switched it up. Anyways, for those who don't know me, I have been featured on the Jennifer Hudson Show and media such as Black Enterprise to talk about the work that I'm doing, helping new nurses, right? Coaching new nurses on how to secure six figures, basically landing their dream role, right? Their preferred specialty area. And I've helped over 200 nurses land their dream role over the last 4 years, all over the US, all over Canada, in positions such as the emergency department, the ICU, labor and delivery, NICU, pediatrics, psychiatry, in the community, outpatient settings, you name it, I've helped nurses land those positions. And like I said, it is possible. And I'm helping nurses, new nurses, make anywhere from 100,000 to 175,000 as brand new nurses. Okay. So I want to talk today about my BOLD framework. And if you stay till the end, I'll also talk a little bit more about my group coaching that I'm currently offering. I have an exclusive group coaching program, particularly for new nurses. So I'll share a little bit more about that in a little bit. And then I'm also going to share my BOLD framework, right? So if you missed the beginning, I basically said bold nurses get hired faster. Okay. So I've developed a whole framework around this. And I've developed a whole curriculum. I have a course called the New Nurse to Dream Role course. Those who enter my exclusive new nurse coaching program get access to that course. Okay. And that can be found on my website, nursefarah.com. So let's get into it. Let me know who is in the chat. I want to know who's here, where you from. What's up, Tammy? I see Renee. Okay, Tammy says, I need your help. All right, let me know. Let me know any questions that you have in the chat. Let me know if you're a new nurse or a senior nursing student. Tell me some of your struggles in the chat. And as I go through this live, I will try to answer any of the questions that you may have. So drop it in the chat. So let's talk about the struggle, right? Because the struggle is real. I know this because as a new nurse, as a nursing student, I absolutely love the emergency department. Anybody that knows me and knows my story, I share this all the time. I went to school in Canada in a BSN program, a 4-year BSN program. The nursing faculty that I have were not that diverse. So I couldn't really relate to a lot of my professors and clinical instructors. I had one in particular that I absolutely loved. Her name was Patty DeRoche. I'll never forget her. Shout out to you, Patty, if you're watching. She was from Michigan, and she was in the ER. She was an ER nurse. So because I loved her whole vibe and when she used to tell us stories about the ER, I started watching also, what is that show called? Trauma Life in the ER. And I absolutely loved it, right? Okay, what's up, Lane? Okay. Yeah, let me know in the comments. So basically, was watching Life and Trauma in the ER, and I was like, that's the type of nurse that I want to be. I want to be an emergency nurse. But of course, so many other professors kept telling me that I couldn't, that I had to start in med surg. And this one particular professor, she was not nice. And she literally laughed in my face and was like, you'll never be an emergency nurse, right? She said I was too unorganized and that I would never be good enough to be an ER nurse. So of course I was like, what? I was like, I'm not going to listen to that. I am absolutely going to pursue emergency nursing. I did that in my last rotation. I got lucky enough to get placed in the ER. And I trust and believe, I worked really hard to make good connections. My preceptor, Jackie, was amazing. And by the end of, midway, they're like, hey, Fair, you should apply and start working here. And I'm like, really? And they're like, yeah, apply. We'll put a good word in for you. So I literally applied and I got hired 2 days. Actually, I got hired as a nursing student and started working 2 days after graduation. I was the first in my whole cohort of like 110 of us who started working first and started working in a critical care area like the ED. So why do I share that story? Because it's possible. And that was 20 years ago. I know I look young, right? But started my career 20 years ago, right? Um, and it really bothers me when, till this day, nursing students are being told that they have to start in med surg or they can't do this or they can't do that. So that's why my whole messaging and my whole content creation has always been about empowering nurses, particularly the next generation of nurses, to do what it is that you want. And also empowering nurses to be bold. This is why I came up with this bold framework, because bold nurses get hired faster and bold nurses get more opportunities. Okay, so we're going to get into this framework in just a little bit. Okay, so Pretty says, want some advice on resumes and covers. Y'all listen, before I get into my framework, if you want to get specific answers to all these things you're asking, I'm hosting a free training, okay, a free webinar next week, October 22nd. Okay, October 22nd, free training. And who is this free training for? Really, any nurse can attend. However, it's designed specifically for senior nursing students. So if you're in your last year, your last semester, I know a lot of you are graduating this December. This is perfect for you. And if you're a new nurse that's been struggling to get a position, or maybe you just graduated, you just passed your NCLEX, and you want to find a position, particularly before the new year. Like you want to get a job before 2026 hits, right? Okay, congrats, Pretty. She says she just passed the NCLEX. Okay, so yeah, so you want to be part of this free training. Okay, it's so much fun. I just did one just this Wednesday and I had a bunch of people show up. And I'm talking like I am dropping a lot of gems in this training. So you don't want to miss it. It's about an hour and a half. How do you join? Just email me. You can email me right now to secure your spot because there's limited space. Okay. Email me at Farah Laurent, the number 1 at gmail.com. Okay. And if you can't find it, if you go to any of my videos, you'll see my email there. Okay. And again, this training, like I said, is open to any senior nursing student or new graduate nurse in the US, Canada, the UK, or Australia. Okay. So, who wants to learn about the B.O.L.D new nurse framework? Let me know. This is something that I've developed. And again, I've developed a whole course called the New Nurse to Dream Role course. And I have all these different strategies and frameworks in the course. Okay. So I see Kimberly, she says, I think it's haters that don't believe in us, that force us to surround ourselves with the dreamers and the doers who see us and what we often do. Look at you now. Yeah. Look at me now. Look at me now. Anyways, you guys don't want to miss this webinar because it's literally this much, like it's packed with fun, gems, and actionable things that you can do to stand out in the job search and interview process so that you can get hired faster. Okay. This is what I do. I am the go-to nurse career coach. Okay. Like I said, email me right now because spots are limited. And if you want to get into this training, it's Wednesday, October 22nd at 12 noon Eastern. And for all my people on the West Coast, that's going to be 9 a.m. PST. Okay. So email me now. So I'm going to get into this framework and also put down what you've been struggling with. And then when I'm done with the framework, I can go back into the comments and check it out. Okay. And if you happen to be watching the replay, for anybody that's on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. And also, I'm streaming live. Just message me your question. I'll be happy to answer. Okay. So let's get into it. What is the struggle, right? Oh, God, I don't even have my mic. I got to put my mic on, y'all. What is the current struggle for new nurses? Okay. Number one, there's a lot of misinformation. Okay. And this is what I also share in my webinar, like the real reasons why you're not actually getting hired. Okay. So you got to come to my webinar so I can drop all those gems. But quickly here, I'll tell you one of the main reasons that nurses are not getting hired is because they lack confidence, right? Okay. And it's not your fault, right? Nursing school sometimes digs a little bit away at your confidence. And naturally, when you graduate, you feel like you're not enough. You feel like maybe you don't know everything. And that's normal, but no one knows everything. So have comfort in that. Okay. No one can know everything, it's impossible. But you do have the skills, the knowledge, and the critical thinking to be able to start anywhere you want. So again, everyone has a different opinion about this. And I don't really care because I'm going to share my opinion because this is my show and I say what I want and do what I want. Right. And I've seen it work for myself. There is no reason that you should not be starting where you want to start in nursing, as long as you select an organization, a facility, a unit that's going to support you in your transition to practice, right? You want to be interviewing them as well, okay? So remember, you're not just getting interviewed, you're also interviewing the employer because you want to make sure that you're entering an environment that you're going to be safe, that you're going to be supported, and that they're going to train you properly, right? So ask questions about the orientation, ask for a tour of the facility. There's a lot of things you have to ask before you accept the offer. Okay. And I always say, like, when you enter an interview, you can feel the vibe. Okay. When I say like feel the vibe, feel the environment, you can feel the interactions to see, is it authentic, or is this group of people, going to be supportive? Are they going to be nice? And you can tell this when you tour the unit, right? How is everyone feeling? What's the demeanor? Are people welcoming you when you enter to do a tour of the unit or the facility that you potentially may work at, right? So you got to check out the vibes, okay? So yeah, that confidence will literally come with time. But if you are not confident in the interview, you're not going to get hired. Okay. So we're going to get into this framework. And the reason you're not getting hired is because you don't truly deep down, you don't believe that you're going to 100% get hired in this position or in your specialty area. And that's the problem. If there's any ounce of doubt, if you're like, ooh, I don't know, like I'm so excited about this ICU interview or this ED interview, whatever interview you're going to, you're like, oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Oh, I really hope I get the position. That's it. You're not getting it. Because you can't hope, okay? You're hoping is not going to get you anywhere. All right? You have to have a strategy. You have to believe. You have to be prepared. When you're prepared for the interview, when deep down you believe that this is the role for you, this is where you belong, just like I did a post this morning, and probably not everybody saw it yet on LinkedIn, but I said, I knew to the core that I was going to be an emergency nurse. And there was no one that could tell me Nothing, because I knew I wanted to be an ER nurse. I was like, I'm going to be an ER nurse, period. And that's it. Okay. I knew it to the core. Like every ounce of me was like, I'm going to be an ER nurse, and that's it, period. Like there's no other way. So that's the energy that you have to have when you're entering the interview. And you have to have that I belong here energy. Like when you walk in, like you could be like, you're lucky to have me on your team. So like you better hire me. And some people might be like, oh, that's a cocky type of energy. No, that's confidence. Okay. Confidence and boldness will get you hired. Okay. Would you want to hire a nurse who does not seem confident in her skills or his skills? Right? So, how do you get to that confidence level? By being prepared and by being competent, right? Being competent in your skills, in your knowledge, and also knowing that you're prepared, right? So, like I talk about faith and manifesting and prayer and God all the time, right? What God has for you, no one can take away. So, nursing, is a special field. It's not everybody can get into nursing. And the reason we get into nursing is because we want to be of service to others. We want to make an impact, but everyone has their own agenda. We are attracted to certain things, right? So, literally, there's this song that I've been listening to. It's called Paid to Exist. Love it. And it says, I am paid to exist, da, 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 all this stuff. And it says, what I seek seeks me back, right? And it's all about the law of attraction. If you know, you know. Like I knew I wanted to be an ER nurse, and that's it. And you plant that seed, and it's going to happen. And you have to be positive in your thinking. So many people are so negative and marinating in the negativity, and then start hanging around with more negative people. So stop hanging around negative people, right? Because it's going to rub off on you. You need to have the bold energy. Okay. So let's get into the framework. Who's ready to get into the bold energy framework? Okay. Let's go. So, my bold energy framework to get you hired faster, here it is. And y'all, if you like what you're hearing, let me know in the comments. And if you want more of this, you need to join next week, Wednesday, October 22nd at 12 noon Eastern for all my Eastern folk, right? Hang out with me on a live webinar. Well, I will do a free training on how to get hired faster and how to step into that bold energy so you can get hired faster as a new nurse. Okay. I have limited space. A bunch of people have registered already. So if you want to get into this free training next week on Wednesday, the 22nd, email me at farah.laurent1@gmail.com so you can get your spot and get secured. All right. All right. This always happens. Every time I'm live, I get a phone call. Give me a minute, y'all. I don't know how to pause it. But I'll be right back. Okay, my bad. So let's get into this framework. Let me know if you guys are ready. So B, okay, it's pretty simple. B stands for believe and build your brand. Okay, B stands for believe, and then the other B is build your brand. Okay, so we talked about belief a little bit earlier. You got to believe that you're going to land this position. You have to have the conviction. When they ask you to tell me about yourself question, do not come with the generic, hi, my name is Farah. I went to school here and I'm applying for this job because I want to help people. Okay. Please don't come with that. Okay. It is boring. Everybody says the same thing. Come on, let's dig a little deeper, right? So we'll get into that in just a moment, but you need to believe in yourself, your abilities, your worth, and you need to believe that you are going to get this position and that they will be lucky and blessed to have you on their team. That's the type of energy I'm talking about, the bold nurse energy. And that's the type of energy that gets hired faster. Are you with me? You cannot go into that interview and they ask you questions and you're like, yeah, I have really good assessment skills. And then you go up with the tone. Assessment skills? I'm a good critical thinker. It's like, do you even believe what you're saying, right? Like, it's all in your tonality, your gestures, the eye contact, like the whole essence, the whole presence. Like, you have to believe. And what you say, what comes out of your mouth has to be congruent with your body, your tonality, what you truly believe. Is that making sense to y'all? Let me know, okay? So, my bold framework is believe, and you need to do that work before you get to the interview. And this is what I help my clients with, okay? Like I said, I do work with clients one-on-one. However, because so many people have been reaching out to me because they want to work one-on-one, I can only take a select few clients a month to pour all of my energy into them to make sure that they, can land their dream role, because most of them are landing their roles between 2 weeks and less than 90 days, right? So what I'm doing is I'm decreasing the amount of one-to-one clients that I'm getting. So if you're interested to work one-on-one, reach out to me. We could do a free consult, but don't reach out to me if you're not serious, because I only work with nurses who are serious, who are ready to take action, and who are ready to invest in themselves. Okay. Because I'll tell you right now, it is not cheap. It is an investment. Okay. But it's not expensive either, because what is the real cost? The real cost is if you don't get into your specialty area, you're leaving money on the table. You're waiting around for 6 months, 9 months unemployed. If you sit around for 6 to 9 months unemployed, you're leaving at least 50K or 60K or more on the table. Okay? Potentially more. Because like I said, I'm helping nurses in the California area and the Bay Area. I'm helping nurses make land jobs that are like 160, 175K. So you do the math. Split that by 2. That's what you're leaving on the table if you're not working for 6 months. Okay. So you could do the same thing, stay stuck, be in that negative energy and keep saying, oh, I can't find a job. I don't know what it is. I can't seem, it's so competitive. I can't even get an interview. I got one interview and then they didn't call me. Oh, it's just so hard. Okay. No, no. We're flipping it. We're flipping it. We're flipping it. We're doing bold nurse energy. Okay. We're doing strategy. Okay. And this is how you're going to get hired. You have to take action. You have to be committed and you have to invest in yourself. Okay. I didn't have this when I was a new nurse. I wish I had me. So this is why I'm doing what I'm doing today as a nurse career coach. Like I said, I've helped over 200 nurses land their dream role. Okay. So we don't want the negative energy. We only want positive vibes. And you have to believe. Okay. So that's the first B of the first layer of the framework, the BOLD framework on how to get hired faster as a nurse. So the first B is believe. The second B of that is build your brand. What do I mean when I say build a brand? Let me know in the comments if this is resonating with you guys. And let me know if you have any questions. So a lot of nurses don't realize that they do have a personal brand. So like if you didn't know, you do have a personal brand. Newsflash, just letting you know. You don't have to be an official business to have a personal brand, like to have a brand, right? So if you think about like Nike, Adidas, Apple, all these big brands, they work on their brand. There's something called brand management. And that's the same type of concept that you need to bring to yourself as a new nurse, right? So for me, as a nursing student, I had no clue about personal branding. When I was a new nurse in the ER, I had no clue about personal branding. It wasn't until I started my business that I learned more about branding, as a nurse career coach. But what I didn't know about branding actually hurt my career. I was not growing fast enough of like literally where I should have been higher on the clinical ladder because I was not managing and working on my personal brand. So what does that mean? I mean, essentially, it's a fancy way to basically say, what is your reputation or like what people perceive you to be, your reputation. So what do people think about when they think about you? How do people feel when they hear your name or they think about you? And what do you stand for? What are the values you stand for? What is it that that you believe in? All that stuff. So your brand should come out in your interview and even before that, right? You should have a stance on, healthcare issues or nursing issues, right? You should be a thought leader. So for me, I create content literally almost every day on all the social media platforms. I show up live, like I'm showing up live here, right? I'm visible. A lot of people don't like to be visible, but I'm visible. You can see me, you can hear me, right? This is not AI. I'm real, right? And then you kind of feel the vibe, my personality, my what I'm talking about. I'm an expert. I'm the go-to expert for career coaching and nursing, right? That's what I'm known for. I'm known as the nurse who helps new nurses land their dream role. That is part of my brand. Another part of my brand is I have a lot of energy, like big energy. I'm very positive, very bubbly. I'm a big motivator and I'm the biggest hype girl. Like I will hype you up. Okay. People know this about me. And one of the first things that people say when they meet me is, oh my goodness, I love your energy. Number one thing they tell me. So that is all part of my brand. So how do people see you? What are some ways that you want to be seen? So like when you're walking into the interview, what vibes are you giving off? Are you giving off positive vibes, negative vibes, too nervous, feel like, these things could be misconstrued. And if they don't perceive you, in your true essence of like what you're trying to really demonstrate, you may not get the position. Because if you're not a confident nurse, they might equal, not confident. They might equal that with like, if this nurse is not really that confident, how is she going to handle difficult situations? Is she going to be able to make critical decisions when there's an emergency, right? This is part of your brand. If you can't communicate with confidence, you can't communicate with clarity, you can't demonstrate your skills and articulate your value in the interview, you're not getting the job. That's part of that bold energy. Okay. So that's B. Okay. So remind me again, what was B? Believe and build your brand. Okay. If you guys are loving these gems, then you need to join me next week for my free training. Okay. I have a free training for new nurses on how to get hired faster. Okay. Because what do we say? Bold nurses get hired faster. So if you've been struggling to get interviews or you keep going to interviews and then you're like, oh my goodness, I'm not hearing anything back. I'm not getting my offers. And you're like, oh man, should I just like settle for any job? No, don't settle for any job. Okay. Um, you're not alone. A lot of people are feeling this way. So this is why I've decided to do these free trainings. Okay. So again, space is limited. Email me if you want to get into this free training on how to get hired faster, right? Because bold nurses get hired faster. So message me or email me to get into this free training October 22nd. So next week, October 22nd at 12 noon Eastern. And it's for all my Cali peeps and, the West Coast peeps, 9 a.m. Okay. You will get a link to be able to register. And this is open also to anybody in the US, Canada, UK, or Australia. Okay. Because, I'm international. Okay. If you know my business name, it's Farah Laurent International Nurse Career Coach. So I also got to spread the love to the people in the UK. So if anybody in the UK is watching, anyone from Canada, I'm also Canadian. Anybody from Australia, you guys are welcome to come to this free training. Okay. Because trust and believe, there are not really any nurses doing this. Okay. So you're welcome. Okay. So I hope to see you Wednesday, October 22nd, 12 noon Eastern. Email me if you want to get in. So, as I'm talking about the BOLD framework, if you're just joining me, I am breaking down my BOLD framework for new nurses on how to get hired faster and with confidence. Okay. So B, we discussed it, is you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that you're going to get the position. You have to believe that you're worthy to get the position. And you have to believe that you're going to get the job offer. That's it. Okay. Guys, I've been listening to my Cardi B. I can't really say all the lyrics, but I'm sure you guys could finish the sentence. But you got to walk into that interview like, I've been feeling like a all day. Okay. Okay. Anyways, thank you. I'm listening intently. I'll share the knowledge with my niece who is an RN. Okay, Glenda, sounds good. Thank you. So yes, let's get into the second step of the framework which is O. Okay? So B was for believe and build your brand. O is own your story. Okay? And own your confidence. So we talked a lot about confidence. So let's get into own your story. What do I mean by that? Okay. So what makes a bold new nurse, right? Even the term bold, what does that really mean? Okay. It means, right, being like unapologetically you, right? You know yourself so well that you're so comfortable in your skin. You know what you're worth. You know your skills. You know what you bring to the table. And you are not playing small. Okay. Being bold is having that energy, that brightness, right? Having no fear, right? Because we talked about this. You can't have fear. You have to believe what is meant for you will happen. You have to attract these opportunities and you have to also be a go-getter. Okay? Let me know if this is resonating. How do you deal with a preceptor that acts like they don't want to train you? It depends where you are. If you're like about to get off preceptorship, I would say, ride it out if you're almost done. But if you're early in your preceptorship journey and you feel like you're not really connecting well with your preceptor, you feel like you're not really learning and it's awkward. Are you in the ED or the EE, girl, Tasha? Let me know in the comments. So I would speak to the educator or whoever put you together, and tell them that you don't want to make it awkward, but can they switch you to a different preceptor? Okay. Where are you? That's awesome. I love that because I was a new nurse in the ER and I had a fabulous preceptor. Amazing, super supportive. I had a great experience as a new nurse. So I'm sorry that you're going through that. Definitely talk to the educator who or the clinical coordinator, whoever put you together. Talk to them, or and then message me offline too. Maybe I can help you a little bit more about how to say it so it doesn't become awkward. Because I know how the ED is, right? The ED, most of those nurses are bold. And well, we have really strong personalities. So sometimes, again, it may be perceived the wrong way because in the ER, I love my ER nurses. Shout out to all my ER nurses, real love. But not every nurse is fit to be a good preceptor. So remember that, right? And this is for all my nursing leaders, okay? Just because a nurse is really good clinically, like an excellent nurse, that does not equal being an excellent preceptor, excellent educator. Okay. And many times, some of these nurses are put into positions of becoming preceptor over and over and over without like really volunteering for it, but because there's such a shortage of really good preceptors, sometimes they just feel stressed and overwhelmed. So the first thing I would say is like just have a conversation with that preceptor. But again, we'll talk offline about it if you want. Reach out to me and I can help you. But maybe they're just overwhelmed, right? Because it takes a lot to be a preceptor. I was a preceptor myself and I loved it. But yeah, so I hope that's helpful. Okay, but good question. All right, so own your story is the second part of being a bold nurse. And like I said, also communication, right? Having those communication skills. So definitely address it with the preceptor. Okay, so back to getting hired in that frame. Owning your story means having an interview pitch. So, when you go to the interview and they're like, hey, tell me about yourself. And most people don't know how to answer that. And they're like rambling all over the place. You don't want to do that. This is where you own your story. But in order for you to own your story, you have to have some insight, do some reflective thinking. And this is where I come in as a nurse career coach. Hello. You can jump into my nurse group coaching program while there's space left before it fills up. And we can have these weekly conversations, right? Or if you want to work one-on-one with me, you can. But again, you got to message me right away because once my one-on-one slots get filled up, that's it. Because, I'm not trying to work with too many people at once because what I do is I get my clients results. Okay. Like I said, they get hired in less than 90 days, the majority of the time when they do what I tell them to do. Okay. So that's something else. If you're not going to do what I tell you to do in my coaching program, like don't even try to don't contact me because we're going to have a fight and you're not going to get in. Okay. So own your story. And how do you do that? Number one, talk about your why, like why you got into nursing. When I go through this with my coaching clients, a lot of them don't even really realize the past experiences that have led them to become a nurse, especially like second career nurses. They haven't done that reflective work. Or sometimes a specific event happened to either you that like put you in the hospital or maybe a family member was in the hospital, like something happened that influenced you to want to become a nurse, to go into this profession of service, right? To want to make an impact, right? And everyone has an agenda. Like some people love working in the NICU. I just was doing an interview prep I'm not going to say her name, but with a new client who wants to be in the NICU. And she was telling me her story, and literally, like, I was like almost close to tears, because she was so passionate about the NICU. And then she like later said, "Oh, oh, I didn't realize because of this and this, I'm really wanting to go into the NICU." So we did that work together. And now we've crafted her story, right? The storytelling methodology is what I like to call it. And that is going to get incorporated when they ask her the tell me about yourself story. Okay. So again, you're going to learn all these things in my free training next week. So October 22nd, email me or message me if you want to get in. Okay. And then again, if you're just joining me, thank you so much for, still being on and watching. If you're just joining me and you don't know who I am, and you're like, who is this chick? I am Dr. Farah Laurent. I am a nurse career coach. I've been featured on media such as the Jennifer Hudson Show, Black Enterprise, for my work that I do in coaching new nurses and new graduate nurses on how to land their preferred specialty in less than 90 days, making six figures. That's right. Helping new nurses make six figures, making those money moves, right? From literally 100,000 to 175K. And I work with nurses, particularly from the California and New York area. Okay. That's the majority of my clients and where they come from. But yes, do I work with other nurses in the US as well and in Canada? Yes. And now I'm opening it up more internationally to any nurses in the UK, Australia, who are also interested to work with me. Again, I've just kind of retweaked my coaching structure. So I do still offer one-on-one coaching if you are interested in that. And again, don't contact me if you are not ready and committed and it's not a priority. Okay. So I do offer one-on-one coaching, but it's very limited. I only accept a select few into my one-on-one coaching. And then I've now transitioned to a group coaching program. Okay. And again, once that cohort becomes full, that's it. All right. So if you're interested to get into my coaching program, message me or email me and we can chat about it. Okay. So if you're just joining me, I'm talking about how to get hired faster. Okay. And I'm talking about one of my frameworks because I have many frameworks and many strategies, but just one of my frameworks that I share in my New Nurse to Dream Role course, which you will get access to that course once you join my coaching program. Okay. So step number one of the B.O.L.D framework, B was believe and build a brand. O was own your story, right? So you need to know the background and you need to know why you're wanting to get into the specific specialty area that you're getting into. And speak of it with some conviction. Let's say it's L&D, right? I talk to a lot of nurses and I've helped a lot of nurses get into L&D as a new nurse, particularly Jessica. Stands out the most. Jessica St. Cyrus, shout out to you if you're watching. She's from the New York area. She wanted to get a job in Long Island. It's now Northwell Health. Let me know where my New Yorkers are. My NY peeps. So I helped her get a job at Northwell in the L&D units when everybody kept telling her that she couldn't get into it. But when we talked about her story, we talked about a little bit about her reasons for getting into L&D and how she wants to help other moms, right? And how to advocate. And obviously there's a public health crisis currently right now with, poor outcomes for moms and babies. So don't be afraid to address those serious issues in the interview because you're having a conversation, right? So advocacy is huge in nursing. So that should be part of your conversation in your interview about why you want to be an ED nurse, why you want to be an ICU nurse, why you want to be a NICU nurse, why you want to be in the community, why you want to be a psych nurse, whatever that looks like. Take your story, take your passion and impact and purpose and merge that together as you're, talking about your story. Okay. So that's O. Next is L. Okay. Is leverage. Leverage your network, leverage your community. Okay. So when I say leverage your network, that could mean different things. In the context of getting hired faster, what it means is you need to be proactive and start networking more. And I know what you guys are thinking. I did a video on TikTok and I talked about how like nursing students should network. And then one girl was like, girl, I could barely make it to class, do my work, go to clinicals. It feels overwhelming. I get it. But the networking needs to start in nursing school, right? So this is what I always say. Your clinical placements, what y'all say, the young people, low key, right? Your clinical placements are low key, your undercover interview, okay? Seriously. I don't even know if that made sense, but I'm trying to be with the lingo, with the youngins, okay? So let me know if you guys are enjoying this, if you're getting value, put gems in the chat if you're getting value from this, okay? So anyways, she was just saying like she doesn't have time to network, but you got to make the time because building those relationships while you're in nursing school, like building relationships with your professors, your clinical instructors, the charge nurses of like where your clinical sites are. When I went in the ED, I was like, oh, I'm talking to everybody. I'm helping everyone. Like everybody was my best friend in the ER. They knew me. They're like, oh, here comes Farah. Like, oh, can you do this for me? Can you do that? Leverage your network. And guess what? Before I ended my preceptorship, they're like, Farah, you need to apply to this particular ER because we want you to work here. And guess what? I applied. They put in a good word for me. I used my preceptor as one of my references, and I got hired as a nursing student in the emergency department 20 years ago when they had no residencies where I was in the ER, where they told people, hey, you have to start in med surg. You can't get into the ED. You need experience. No. I was like, I'm not going to no med surg. I can't stand med surg. And I was like, I'm going to the ED, okay? Because I'm going to be that nurse. Trauma life in the ER. That's me. So I worked in the trauma hospital. They hired me as a nursing student. And guess what? I started working there 2 days after graduation. When all my friends literally, we had our pinning ceremony and our graduation, and they're like, oh, I got to start applying. And I was like, oh, got to go to work, got to go to the ED. Okay? Because I was strategic. I started leveraging my network early because I did not want to play any games. I'm like, I got to pay my student loans back. Let's go. Let's make these money moves, right? So this is why I'm so passionate today about helping nurses like you who are new nursing students start applying for jobs that they're passionate about, because it is possible. You can get in your preferred specialty. And like I said, I've helped over 200 nurses get into specialty positions. And when I do, that's what lights me up. When I get that text, because I'm the first person they text or call. They're like, oh my God, Farah, I got into the emergency department. I got into the ICU. And I'm like, oh my gosh, congratulations. And I'm like, how much did you make? What's the offer? Because, I also coach my clients on how to negotiate their salary, because I did not know this. As a new nurse, I didn't know that I could negotiate my salary. They were like, oh, this is what this is your offer. And I was like, oh, okay, thank you. And that was it. But no, I've helped new nurses make anywhere from like 10 to 15K more off their base salary. just from the strategies that I tell them to use to negotiate their salary. Right? So yeah, that's my favorite part. This is what I do, Like I've helped nurse executives in leadership because I've held leadership positions all the way up to like associate dean, director of education. I've done all that, right? I can help these, high leadership, high achieving, women nurses who want to get higher up. But really what fills me up and what lights me up is helping new nurses because I did not have someone like me as a new nurse. And I didn't have many mentors who looked like me, who understood me, right? And I always felt like I couldn't say the real thing because I felt like I was going to get judged as a nursing student. The only person that was like super cool with me was my ED clinical instructor who was an ED nurse. So that's why I always like promised myself, like after I had enough experience as an ED nurse, I was going to become an educator, and then later became a clinical instructor for NYU School of Nursing. And that was my absolute favorite job, being a clinical instructor at NYU, because I just loved pouring into nursing students. So this is my way now of doing this because I have small kids and all that, right? Couldn't do the clinical instructor anymore. This is my way of pouring back into the nursing community, giving back. I spend hours creating content literally every day, giving you guys the gems, the value, right? And of course, like I have my coaching business that I do, but this is what I love to do. And I feel like I'm contributing in a way to helping with nurse retention because I'm making sure that I'm giving new nurses the clarity they need, because so many nurses don't know where they want to start. Some do, some don't. So part of my program is also helping nurses get that clarity. Like you might be watching and you're like, oh man, I don't know where I want to start. In my coaching program, we do that, right? All right, look, y'all, I'm getting emails right now of people who are interested in joining as I'm talking. They're emailing me to get into the free training that I have next week, October 22nd, Wednesday at 12 noon. You want to get into this training? I have limited spots. Email me at farah.laurent1@gmail. And again, it's open to anyone in the US, Canada, UK, or Australia. Okay. And the only reason I'm opening up to these areas is because nursing is very similar in those areas. And I also worked in Canada and I worked in the obviously in the United States. Okay. All right, so who's ready to go on to the next stage of the framework? Okay, so if you're just joining me, I'm talking about how I coach nurses on how to land their dream roles with my B.O.L.D framework. Okay, so B.O.L.D nurses get hired faster. And then I have a free training next week. If you want to get into it, email me. All right. So if you missed it, the first framework piece was believe and build your personal brand. Part of that personal brand is showing up on social media professionally, right? Like okay. You can write articles on LinkedIn. Particularly LinkedIn is what I'm talking about when I say social media, because 95% of recruiters will be on LinkedIn looking you up. So if you don't have LinkedIn, get yourself a LinkedIn, fill out your profile, write about the About Me section, put in what you're looking for. All these things are in my course, The New Nurse to Dream Role. You can check it out on nursefair.com, my website. But when you join my group coaching program or my one-on-one program, you get the course. It's included in it. All these frameworks, all these strategies, all the resources, everything is in the course. Okay? Okay. She said, I'm so excited. I can't wait to secure my new grad residency. Okay. Okay, you emailed me. Okay, cool. Girl, you better join the group coaching, okay? Like I said, I have limited spots, and when it's full, it's full. Like I will not accept any more. So I'm excited to see you. So thanks for taking the first step to join the free training. So I will see you on Wednesday. Okay, so first was believe and build your brand. Number 2 was own your story and own your confidence. Number 3, we just talked about leverage your network and your community. So again, the network virtually. So LinkedIn is a big one where you can build your network. Going to your clinicals, build your network there, and go to nursing conferences. There's a ton of nursing conferences locally, regionally, nationally, internationally. Build your network. Okay. Get yourself a few mentors, not just one, get multiple mentors. I wish I had multiple mentors when I started. And this is part of the reason why I started my business is to mentor and coach new nurses. Okay. And then what else I have on my paper here? The last thing of the framework is D, right? D stands for development. Okay. Develop your skills. So number 1 is still skill stacking. Number 2 is just professional development in general, meaning invest in yourself. Get your ACLS, get your PALS, get your NRP. I was just talking to a nurse yesterday who just joined to work with me. She wants to work in the NICU. So I was like, girl, you better get your NRP. Hey, resilient nurse coach. What's up? So she was like, oh, do you really think I need to get my NRP? I was like, do you want the job? So that's something that I'm going to do. I am going to, if you're in my coaching program, I'm going to make sure that I push you out of your comfort zone to make sure that you're fully stacked with the skill set that you need, fully stacked with the confidence you need, fully stacked with the competence that you need, because we're going to go through clinical style questions in my program. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. And I'm going to make sure that you develop that authority when you get to the interview, because you need to show up and demonstrate that you are competent, confident, and that you are a bold nurse. Back to this bold framework, I'm telling you. So again, develop stands for, professional development and skill stacking. You have to stack up your skills, whether it's soft skills or actual like certifications. That will make you more marketable. Okay. So one thing I'm going to share, and I'm going to address this later. Every time that I do videos, people will say, and I encourage new nurses to get certified in like ACLS, NRP. Somebody asked me about TNCC yesterday, all these things. And I'm like, yes, invest in it. They're like, well, isn't the hospital going to pay for it? Like, you shouldn't tell the nurses to invest. Don't listen to that negativity. You have to invest in yourself. That's why you're not getting hired. Hello, if you see 2 resumes, the first resume has no certifications. This other resume, you have ACLS, BLS, PALS, NIH stroke scale, IV course, ECG course. Hello, who do you think is going to get hired? The go-getter. And when do you think they're going to make that money back? They're going to make all that money back literally in one paycheck. And they're going to get hired faster. So they're going to work faster. So that means they're going to make more money faster. And again, that goes back to that abundance type thinking. You have to stay away from scarcity mindset. Scarcity mindset will tell you, oh no, the hospital will pay for it. Oh, you can just wait. Oh, don't spend that much money. Don't think that way. You got to think in abundance. I will invest this money in ACLS and I will get it back with more because I will get hired faster. It's an investment, right? What I put in, I will get more back, right? Positive thinking, I attract more opportunities. Don't think from a place of lack, okay? The universe, right, is abundant. It's all about abundance thinking and mindset. It sounds woo woo and all that, but listen, I believe in God, and I'm a woman of faith, and I'm like, if it's meant to be, it'll be. The more you give out, the more good energy you put out there, the more positive thoughts you have, the better you attract. The more you attract. And there is enough. Remember that. There are enough opportunities. Stop with the negative talk. I have to catch myself in it myself sometimes. And I'm like, oh, I don't have enough time. Yes, you do have enough time. Words are so powerful. Stop with the negativity. Oh, I don't have time to study. Yes, you do have time to study. Oh, the job market is so competitive. No, it's not. It's not competitive. You are elite. You are premium. You attract opportunities. It's not competitive. So this is why when my clients come to me, they're like, especially the ones that come from like California and New York, and that's why they're my favorite to work with, because they're like, oh my goodness, it's so competitive in the Bay Area. I'm like, please, child, like, girl, please don't come to me with that. And then literally, like within a month or two, they're like, oh my God, I got my position at Kaiser or at Sutter or at Stanford. And I'm like, it's not competitive. It's the way you think, and it's the way you prepare, and it's the mentor and coach that you have, hint me, that will get you into that bold energy, that will get you to be thinking more positively so that you can get hired faster. Okay? That was a whole sermon, y'all. Okay? Listen, if you want more of these gems, more of this energy, then you need to join me next week, Wednesday, October 22nd at 12 Eastern, noon, lunchtime. Okay? Or if you're out on the West Coast, for all my Cali people, okay, 9 a.m. Eastern. How can you get into this free training? Email me or message me. What's my email? Farah with one R, Laurent1@gmail.com. Email me now because spots are limited to get into this free training. Okay? How do you get into my coaching program? The group coaching program? The only way that you're going to get into the group coaching program is if you come to the free webinar. And there you will get access to get into the free coaching. I mean, not free coaching program because you got to pay. Into the coaching program. Okay? And if you want to work one-on-one with me, just message me and I'll tell you, how we can do that. We'll have a one-on-one consultation. But please do not message me if you're not serious about the one-on-one, okay? Because it's an investment. And like I said, the nurses I work with make 6 figures as new nurses, all the way up to 175K. All right, but if you get hired faster, right, you are going to literally make that money back in one paycheck, or the first month that you're working, whatever these investments are in your professional development, or if you're hiring me as a coach, you're going to make all that money back in 1 month. Guaranteed. So technically I should be charging way more. So you better jump into my program before I decide to like triple my prices next year. Oh my goodness. Okay. So recap. Again, the BOLD framework. B is for believe, build your brand. O is for own your story, own your confidence. L is leverage your network, right? Both in person and online, specifically on LinkedIn. And then D is develop, right? Develop your skills. You need to stack your skills both soft skills, technical skills, all the skills, clinical skills. Okay. Your IV skills, whatever. Okay. You got to have the skills. And then your mindset. That's part of it too, right? And then you want to be able to invest in your development. Okay. And then you will also be able to dominate. Once you're in this energy, this positive energy, you're unstoppable. Like, you're unstoppable. That's it. Like, you will get what it is you want, period. Okay. And yeah, I just feel blessed to be able to have this opportunity to be of service to these new nurses, to new nurses like you, nursing students, and new grads, because it's exciting for me to be able to help new nurses start where they want to start, right? Nursing school is not easy. We all know this. So why would you want to go to nursing school for, however many years your program is, and then come out of nursing school settling for less or struggling to get a position, waiting months and months and months and months, literally like 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, or even worse, a whole year, staying stuck where you are, not getting paid, or you've settled for a position that you didn't want and you're miserable. You hate the current position you're in. And you're like, oh man, let me just try to make it to a year to get my experience. And I'm not telling anybody to job hop. Please don't come in my messages and start with your negativity and the drama, okay? Because I will delete it. Delete, right? All I'm saying, if you're miserable currently in your current role, it's time to start looking for something else, because it is not worth it. If you're in a toxic work environment, I've been in many of those, it's not worth it. Why are you waiting till a year? Stop listening to these generic things that people say, like, oh, you have to be in your role for a year before you can get into whatever specialty area. That is not true. I literally just helped this one girl, one of my clients. She was in the ICU. Couple of things didn't work out, wasn't really for her. She stayed there, like maybe 6 months, and reached out to me, and we got into another role. Don't feel guilt around that. Don't feel shame around that. It is okay. Even in the hospital, like let's say you took a position at the hospital in acute care and you realize, oh my goodness, I don't like working in the hospital. That's okay. There's no shame around that. Don't have any shame. A lot of nurses feel like they feel guilty or they feel ashamed if they don't want to work in the hospital because someone told them that, you're less of a nurse because you don't work in the hospital. Honey, times have changed, okay? There are nurses working remotely. There are nurses that are in policy, working in the government, working for United Nations, working on cruise ships. I had a nurse that I worked with in the ER in New York. We worked at NYU together, and she had a per diem gig at the Bronx Zoo. Okay, listen, they need nurses everywhere. So don't get stuck into this belief that, like, hey, you have to start in the hospital. You don't. Don't let people persuade you to do stuff you don't want to do. Do what you want to do. And if you hate your current position, switch it. That's the beauty of our profession. There's so many things you can do. I'm in the Tampa Bay area, and we went to Disney not long ago. Disney hires nurses. Like cruise ships, I'm telling you, you can work anywhere. All right. So that's what I do. I help nurses find clarity, step into their boldness so that they can pursue specialty areas that they really want. Okay. Um, and I want nurses to be happy and excited, right? Because we know research, I'm not going to get into so much research, but boring, but right. But we know when nurses are happy, nurses are satisfied in their work, nurses provide better care, and patients do better. They have better outcomes. No one wants to work with a nurse that is not happy and that's miserable because guess what? It's like contagious, right? It becomes like it starts spreading. Nobody wants that. Okay. Thank you for the gift. I don't even know what the rose means. What does the rose even mean? I'm new to TikTok. Um, express your appreciation. So shout out to Resilient Nurse Coach. She sent me a rose. I don't know what these things are, and it says like join my fan club. Y'all, you gotta tell me like what's going on TikTok because I don't know all these things. But thank you for sending that gift, Resilient Nurse Coach. I appreciate you. Shout out to Jordia. She says she doesn't know either. Yeah, I don't know what that is. So shout out to Jordia. She came to my first conference ever called Nurses Making Money Moves, and that was in Tampa. And she's also a coach, so definitely message her and connect with her as well. So yeah, side note, off this topic, well, really, still being bold nurses, right? If you're a nurse, you happen to be watching, and you're not a new nurse and you're not a new grad, but you're like, you know what? I want to start my own business. I want to do kind of what Fair is doing. She's a nurse career coach. I'm interested to know how I can become a coach or consultant. Then guess what? You need to be at my next conference called Nurses Making Business Moves. Now I switched the name. Don't be upset with me. Okay. But I'll still coin the Nurses Making Money Moves, right? And that'll be March 2026. You need to get your tickets now before they sell out because I'm already selling a ton of tickets. I will drop the link so you can check that out. I have speakers that are both nurses and non-nurses that'll be talking about marketing, personal branding, social media content, how to make business moves. Okay. So if you're interested in that, message me to get more info. And then I will also drop the link where you can secure your ticket to Nurses Making Business Moves. Again, it'll be at the University of Tampa in their nurse entrepreneurship building. We're doing big things, okay? So if you want to be part of this movement, this community of nurses making money moves and nurses making business moves, you know where you got to be. March 2026, you got to be in Tampa at the Nurses Making Business Moves conference hosted by me, yours truly, right? And your tickets include Friday night and Saturday night, March 6th and 7th. Friday night, we're just going to hang out. It's going to be cocktail, dinner, networking, meet and greets, music, vibes, on the Friday. And then on the Saturday, we're going to get more into the business, right? With the speakers. And then we're also having a pitch competition. I'm going to get more details about that very soon. So if you are interested in joining the pitch competition, let me know. And then I'm going to send details out for that too. We are also looking for sponsorship, okay? Because y'all, these conferences are not cheap, okay? So if you would love to be a sponsor of the Nurses Making Business Moves conference, please email me or message me. And then if you want to be a vendor and have a table, maybe you have a book you want to sell, whatever services you have, I have tables for you as well. Okay. And if you just want to donate and you can't attend, I will accept those donations to the Nurses Making Business Moves conference. And again, this is for any nurse or healthcare worker, it's open to everybody who would like to get into coaching, consulting, some type of product-based or service-based business, whatever the business you want to do, you need to be at this conference. Okay? And it's open to everyone. I'm not excluding anybody. Everyone is welcome. Please don't come message me and say, oh, is this only for nurses? Or everyone is welcome if you want to grow and learn about business and how to make money moves. Okay? So I hope this was helpful. Again, I've said it a couple times. I'm hosting a free training next week. And who is the free training for? The free training is for any nurse, nursing student, or a new nurse that is struggling to get a job, or maybe you're graduating soon. You want to get hired before 2026 rolls around. You want to secure your specialty position because you don't want to settle. Or maybe you can't even get interviews. Like you can't even get interviews. And you're like, oh my goodness, why am I not even getting to the interview stage? Or you keep getting interviews, but you're not getting any offers. This free training will explain why you are not getting hired. I also have a free training too, a video. So I will drop that link to the free video. And then you'll also join my mailing list. Okay. So I'll drop that later so that you can get my free video on why you're not getting hired. And then email me to get into this free training October 22nd, Wednesday at 12 noon. Okay? So that's pretty much it. I'm going to hang around for like a minute or two, but I have a couple of meetings and a couple of things to do. Who else is on here? That girl, Kay. Let me know where my aspiring nurse entrepreneurs are. Where are my nurses who want to make money moves? Where are my nurses who are trying to get hired faster? Let me know in the chat. All right. So that's basically it for me here on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. Again, thank you for watching. I'm thirsty now, and I think I'm losing my voice because I talk too much. But I hope that I dropped a lot of gems. I dropped a lot of insight for you, and that this motivated you to take action, to take the next step, to really get the knowledge, the guidance that you need, and also get access to my free training next week, October 22nd at 12 noon. Email me or message me. I will get you the registration link. And if you're not a new nurse or you're not a nurse at all, but you're like, hey, I know a nurse that might benefit from this, please repost this. Please send this to them and share my information. Thank you again. I appreciate it. And if you want to join my coaching program, message me. I have a group coaching program and I have a one-on-one coaching program that will help you get hired faster. Okay? Please subscribe to the Nursing Dose with Farah on YouTube. I'm also working on a couple of things. I'm wanting to rebrand my podcast. So I don't know. One of I'm thinking of switching my title from the Nursing Dose to something else because I think the Nursing Dose is too generic and it's like not clear enough for people. So I might change it to something with like B.O.L.D nurse, something like that. B.O.L.D nurse gets hired faster. I don't know, something. You guys let me know what you think. Put any comments or questions that you may have, and I will go back and watch the replay and look at the comments and answer any questions that you may have. Okay, so please subscribe to my YouTube channel, The Nursing Dose with Farah. Check out my website for my new course, The New Nurse to Dream Role, on nursefarah.com. That's where you also can get my tickets to the conference if you're interested in business. And what else? I think that's it for now. And you can get my book. Y'all, I haven't even been promoting my book, but I have a book on my website called Nurses Making Money Moves, a nurse's guide to starting a business. Okay. So go to my website. You'll see everything there, nursefair.com. Okay. And then just message me. Again, thank you for watching. I hope that I brought you a lot of value. Please share this with another nurse, tag another nurse, let them know we're all about making money moves, business moves, and supporting each other as nurses. All right.